Washington likely to try to boot it deep to get things started. On the move from inside his 5. He's able to work his way across the 25 to the 26 before going out of bounds. So Washington State's offense takes the field for the first time today. Guys, every now and then you can take the emotion of rivalries for granted, but last year when the Huskies and Cougars got together, that was as dramatic as anything you could think of, a cathartic win for the Cougs, who sent UW off with an L.
This is a tremendous rivalry, the Apple Cup, and it looks a little bit different now that they're no longer conference opponents. But that doesn't mean they don't like each other any less, David. These two teams go at it. The fan bases dislike each other enormously, and we're expecting a great one today.
Well, and you always love it with the bragging rights, right? In the state of Washington, whoever wins this football game, you get to talk. Last year, Rodgers puts up a bunch of numbers, but it wasn't enough. Washington State got the dub. Big game, big matchup.
Coaches always harp about staying ahead of the chains, and when you can run with that type of efficiency on first down, man, you are doing just that.
The Cougars can play this second down a lot of ways with just a few yards to go. To the ground with the back. Not much running room there thanks to this senior defender.
Man, it's really hard to control the running game if you don't control the line of scrimmage. And how about the defensive line doing a great job attacking those guys up front, not open up lanes to run through. Nice job just nullifying that run altogether.
The Cougars come to the line on 3rd and short, trying to keep the drive alive. That'll be enough for the first down, and they'll mark it at the 48.
It's a really good sign if you're on offense here. You're putting it on your offensive line on 3rd down. Critical down and distance, opening drive of the game. Let those guys fire off, get a hat on a hat. You can run the ball, pick up the first. You're around midfield. And all things looking pretty good here early for this offense.
Now they're going to throw it. And with the completion out to the sideline, they'll pick up a couple. A continual subplot since these two first squared off in 1900 is Washington State trying to prove it deserves the same respect and status as UW.
And I think oftentimes the great rivalries out west are forgotten in college football. This game between Washington and Washington State is absolutely fantastic, and I'm so happy that with conference realignment, they were able to keep this game on the schedule because it is always fun to watch.
It is fun, and it's for the Apple Cup. And here's the cool thing. These teams, they're not the same conference anymore. They used to be for years, but this rivalry still lives because it still matters to the Washington and Washington State fans.
And the Cougars have it with a 1st and 10. Motion from the wide receiver. From the gun, they'll give it on the inside. That is a big win for this defense as they were right there as soon as he got the ball.
I love when defensive backs come up and they are physical and they stick their face in the fan and they aren't scared. Talking to the defensive coordinator coming into this game, he knew his DBs had to tackle well. They had to get these running backs on the ground. Great start on this first drive.
2nd down, they'll go to the air. Quickly out to the tight end. Nice gain on that play, but a little bit short of the first down.
Well, a nice completion there, finding the tight end. And what's so beautiful about that is while they didn't get the first, they were able to pick up enough yards now to make the 3rd down manageable, really putting this offense in a good position.
They'll come to the line for the 8th snap on this opening drive, facing a 3rd and short. They'll try to pick up the first through the air. Fires to the wideout. It's incomplete, but here comes the flag, and I think it's going to be a 1st down.
Pass interference, defense.
And the defender just way too handsy on that last play. You could see all the contact as the ball was in the air. You simply can't do it, and the referee's caught it.
He stopped at the 14-yard line, and they'll stay on the attack from there.
The big fella in the middle, man. Those defensive tackles, they go such a long way in deciding and really stopping the other team's run game. Just forcing contact with those guards and those centers, owning the line of scrimmage, and getting running backs on the ground.
To the air on 2nd down. Caught in the backfield, it's Johnson. Couldn't quite nudge it in. Not sure you could get much closer, but it'll be first and goal.
Well, it's a nice play design there. You're getting the running back involved in the pass game. Quarterback gives it to him early so he can go to work upfield and get the first down.
On first and goal, let's see if Washington State can get it in. They'll try to get it in with the run. And there was nowhere to go, just stopped in his tracks in the backfield.
So on offense, you've got to find a way to put 6 up on the board. You know that in this game, field goals may not get it done. So big-time players make big plays in big games. Who can you rely on right now to get you a touchdown?
Can the defense stop them again on second and goal? Back to pass. Get it out on the screen. Brought down just short of the sticks on the screen pass.
Well, they're trying to set up the screen pass to the running back, just nowhere to go after he caught the football. The defense completely swarmed around him, and that's a loss.
It has been all defense all the time in the early going as we wrap up the first quarter, and the stats certainly reflect that. Let's see if the offenses can find a little rhythm here in the second. Starting off this quarter close enough to smell the goal line. Looking for the touchdown on third and goal. And that defense gets to him, and down he goes at the 9.
Well, the offense has made it known on this drive. They're trying to throw the football, and they're going to let this quarterback go to work. The defense does a great job winning up front. They get the sack to try to slow this momentum down.
And on fourth down, here comes the field goal unit. He'll boot it from the left side, and from this distance, that angle ought to be fairly easy. Absolutely perfect. And with that, they break the seal on the scoring. It's 3-0.
And they don't get 7 on that opening drive, but they get 3. And this place is rocking. Night games are always so loud, so obnoxious, and these fans, they get something to cheer about with that first offensive possession.
So they're lining up to kick it off after that last drive. Put a 3 spot on the board, and now the defense will try to shut them down. He'll start the return inside his 5. Really disciplined job by the coverage unit to get down there and make the stop at the 19. So Washington's offense will try to get something going with their first possession. Off the play fake on first down to throw. Got the quick pass. Still running at the 40. He'll be stopped and forced out of bounds. Mark it at the 47-yard line, and this offense is going to work.
Well, Reese, you and I were talking about this before the game. How is this defense going to be able to deal with all the speed they have offensively? You saw them just rip off a big play.
And, Jesse, now their head's spinning just a little bit. Give up a big chunk play, and it's right back at them. Off the play fake. Caught behind the line. It's Green. And just a short, safe pass play. They pick up a few.
This quarterback right now is in a groove, and he's doing a nice job in pre-snap. He's reading the coverage, and he's getting an idea of where he wants to go with the football. That's why the ball's coming out of his hands so quickly, and that's why he seems like he's in a great rhythm right now.
Picked up some yardage with that completion. Now second down. Out of the gun, the inside handoff, looking for a crease. He is going nowhere. Stop at the line of scrimmage. Boy, there wasn't much room to wiggle for that running back there.
None at all. Great job by the defense getting in the backfield quickly, closing up all the holes, nowhere to go.
And the Huskies come to the line on third and short, hoping to keep the drive alive. Williams looking for a man. Tight end finds a soft spot. Just what they'd hoped for on third down as they've got a first at the 32.
And it's on third downs like this, if you want to attack the middle of the field, you got to look for the tight end. Really nice route. Great job looking that football in. You can tell this quarterback really has a lot of confidence when he's in the pocket looking for the big fella, and they're able to hook up there.
They'll ride the running back and leave it with it. You'll take 4 yards on first down every time, 2nd and 6.
And those body blows really, really matter. Like, I want to be able to hand the ball off to my running back 10, 15 times a game. Make the defense tackle them, wear them out. Sometimes these 3 to 4 yard runs, later in football games, they turn into 5 to 15 to 20 yard gains just because of the body blow effect.
Gonna sling it on 2nd down. Grab near the sticks. It's Green. And they reacted well to the completion, but it was too late to keep them from getting the first down.
Slant routes, they're good against man coverage, but they're good against zone coverage too. If that receiver can find the soft spot between the linebacker and the DB, you'll take that throw all day.
Washington coming to the line with another first down. Down to 2 minutes to play. We'll take the timeout. They'll talk it over, a chance to tie or even take the lead before the break. Just outside the red zone, 1st and 10 from the 21. Wants to throw on first down. And the defense, got him at the 27.
And the defense has given up some plays, some passing yards on this drive. You want to stop that? Nice job rushing the quarterback, making him feel a little bit of pressure and getting him on the ground and now getting him behind the sticks.
The Huskies have put themselves in dire straits after that last play. It's 2nd and a mile. Here's a heat. And this defense goes back-to-back sack, Jack. That big fella up front just won his one-on-one battle and got to the quarterback.
And that's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to beat the guy in front of you, and great job by using your hands, getting by that first initial guy, and then getting to the quarterback. And the hard part a lot of time is getting him on the ground. Nice job by the big lineman.
Now a lot of work to do to move the chains, keep this drive alive after that earlier sack. On 3rd and long, a check down would be the last resort. Finds his man, it's Green. He is stopped right at the 21-yard line, and now it'll be 4th down and decision time. And they'll have to settle for a field goal try. This try will come from the left hash, and he'll try to curl it in from 38. Good, right down the boulevard. And after the 3-spot guys, we're all tied up.
And you want a touchdown and you want to be aggressive, but man, right down the middle, that obviously gives me some confidence down the road that I can trust this guy.
And we're all square as he's set to kick it away. Here he comes from inside his own 5. He was looking for some running room, but not much to be found as he stopped at the 18. A little bit backed up to start this drive from their own 18-yard line. Lofts one high and deep. It's picked off, and they ruin the drive with a turnover. Looking for more room. And they capitalize not only on the pick, but on the great return to improve this field position.
And I love this defense being ready at the end of the half, playing the 2-minute situation beautifully, forcing the turnover here now, a chance to break this tie, get some points. Nice execution by this defense late in the first half.
Here we go. They'll try to get something on the board here in the final minute of the first half. Williams will pass. Caught over the middle. It's Coleman. They stop him just short of the first down, but it will be 2nd and inches coming up. Quick timeout call by the offense after the play. And the Huskies have a lot of options on 2nd and inches. Leaves it with the back. Brought down after a good pickup, and they're in the red zone at the 20. The offense wastes no time getting the timeout called. They're down to the 20, 1st and 10. To the air on 1st down. Pressure coming. And the defense, got him at the 27.
Man, this offense, they gotta find something. They gotta get in a rhythm somehow. So far, no success, not protecting the quarterback. Really, the only good thing I can say so far is they haven't turned the football over.
These guys are bringing serious heat. They are like sharks swarming and just getting after the passer. He's going to take off. They'll use a timeout right before halftime, maybe time for 1 or 2 more plays. And it's 3rd down, but they're going to go ahead and try the field goal and try to get points before the break. He'll swing that big leg for 3 from 44 yards out. And this one is perfect. And with that field goal, they now have the lead.
Washington State, 3.
So after putting 3 on the board, the kickoff team is out there ready to boot it away. From inside the 10-yard line, he'll bring it back. Couldn't find a way to create that broken field as he stopped at the 25. And with time running out here in the first half, this offense will choose to take a knee. We've played 2 quarters here. Time to go to Kevin Connors in our halftime update.
Guys, in a rivalry filled with magical moments, even more here today between the Huskies and Cougars. And yes, football is a game of inches, but man, is that really the case when you consider the length of some of these possessions. Look, I'm not an analytics guy, but I do know this. The team that sustains drives and just moves the sticks might be the team that comes out on top today. A lot of intrigue with this second half still to come as we send things back to the Evergreen State.
Washington State ready to boot it away to start the 3rd quarter. The returner's going to try to see what he can get. Really disciplined job by the coverage unit to get down there and make the stop at the 19. This drive will start from the 19-yard line. Williams looking for a man. Takes a shot as he lets it go. He's got it on the outside. Found a bunch of room and got it to the 44-yard line.
Man, I love this offensive approach, man. All gas, no brakes. You got the lead, so what? Continue to do what you do. Find those one-on-one situations and continue to stay aggressive.
That big play is just what they needed. Now they have it 1st and 10 just outside the 40. Looking downfield on 1st down. Always a welcome play for the defense as they get a sack at the 47.
And that is just what this defense needed. Nice job getting upfield, getting after the quarterback, putting that last play behind him. Big gain, so what? Great job being dialed in on 1st down to the pass and getting the sack.
The Huskies trying to find their way forward after the big loss on the last play. Back to pass on 2nd down. Fires to the big fella. There he goes. And he'll be brought down.
Well, I know the tight end did some good things after the catch, but got to give the quarterback credit, too, for the location of the throw. Because he put it out in front of his big man, he was able to make the catch and accelerate, creating some distance there between him and the defense.
And the Huskies come to the line on 3rd and short, looking to keep this drive moving. Touch pass on the run. There he goes. What a run. Takes it all the way down to the 11-yard line before he's forced out.
Yeah, and way to be creative. Way to get the ball in the perimeter really quickly. Get some speed outside. All you got to do is secure that edge, and you're just trying to get that 1st down. Nice job. Nice play call by the offense.
Washington has a lot of things working. Set up with another 1st down. Got it in the middle. It's Boston. That completion will take it inside the 4, and the offense is threatening.
Nice job by the receiver on the in route there. And how about the speed? After he made his break, he was able to actually separate a little bit from the DB, helping out his QB on that one.
Second down coming up on this red zone opportunity. Quarterback on the keeper. Nowhere to go. The ball's loose. Defense covering it up and not letting the offense get it back. It's a turnover.
In your offense, you're talking to each other the whole time. Look at the score. Understand the situation. We got a chance to go up by 2 scores. We got a chance to put this ball game away. We have to hold on to the football. 2 hands. Make sure I go to the ground with that thing in my possession. It's a big mistake that could cost them big.
Opening play of this drive comes from the 11. Out of the chute, quick toss to the right. He's forced out of bounds at the 23-yard line. A good pickup to give this offense some operating room. First and 10 from their own 24-yard line. They'll give it to Johnson. Defense is there to greet him again, and they are ready, and he has found nowhere to run tonight.
Here's the thing. I know this guy's not going to win the Heisman Trophy, but he's a pretty talented football player that's made big plays for this offense in the past. They have not had any success when they've given him chances so far in this game. And in the third quarter, you're getting a little nervous, I think, if you're the head coach, because he's a guy you need to have success if you're going to win.
And there's so much for a quarterback to think about. Stick it out in the belly. Do I pull it? Now when I pull it, I got to get my feet set, make an accurate throw to the right guy. So a lot of things going on, and I think that you saw that led to a little bit of inaccuracy.
The Cougars are in a mess here on 3rd and a mile. From the gun, wants to pass. Pucks it out of the air. He stopped right at the 31-yard line. That's not enough for a first down, and it'll be 4th.
At the 31, offense facing 4th down.
Washington State sends the punt team onto the field. First time today we've seen a punter go to work. Makes a nice grab at the 25. He's brought down, but a really solid effort to pick up every bit of yardage he could on the punt return. They'll go to the ground. Creating some space, getting just enough good blocking, and they've got it up to the 47-yard line.
You just sense the frustration starting to build, not only on offense, but I think with this running back as well. He is so talented. He's had some massive games throughout his career. Just haven't been able to get him going early in this game. That was a pretty good run there. Let's see if he can turn it on here in the second half.
He's got enough, and it'll be a first down for Washington.
And I think this has probably been the most surprising thing of this game so far. This guy's one of the best running backs in the entire country. They just can't get him going. He's never been able to get into a rhythm. You got to give the defense so much credit because they have been able to shut this guy down, and they got to keep that up here in the second half.
From the gun, the running back has it. He's going to lose a yard on that one. Looks as if we have an injury on that last play, and we'll take a break to check him out. The Huskies now with a long way to go to pick up the first down. Williams will pass. The sweet feet buy a little time. How about this sophomore learning when to just do it himself?
And this QB's really starting to show you something, isn't he? I mean, he's been hit a lot in the pocket, and I just like the toughness. At the end of the run here, he's not sliding because he's been banged up a little bit. Lowering the shoulder, getting the first down, taking some hits, but he's still competing.
Time winding down in the quarter as they come to the line. On the run, it's Coleman. Little too soft in that run defense. He picks up 4 to the 32. We've reached the break. Bow down to your leaders, Washington. And we've reached the end of the third, and time is running out if they're going to cut into this deficit. Let's take a look at our game stats before we move on. Here comes the fourth. Time to see who steps up, who makes the winning plays to take home that W. So the final period starts with a second down play. Grabbed in the backfield. It's Moore. And he was fortunate not to lose yardage on that play, able to wedge it back to the line of scrimmage.
So many playmakers, so much speed in college football, so many big plays after the catch. Not on this instance. The defense did a great job reacting to the throw, getting there in a hurry, and making sure he didn't get any yards after that catch.
On third down, going up top. Catch in the middle. It's Boston. Got enough to move the sticks. First down from the 17.
Really nice execution by this offense. This is the time, right? Late in the football game, got to get a few first downs to preserve this lead, to get out of here with the W. They trust their quarterback. They protect him. They get the first down.
Washington has it and a fresh set of downs. They'll leave it with him. He's going to lose a yard on that one.
And this situation here on second down is the exact situation this offense wanted to stay out of. You got the lead late in the ball game. You want to get positive yards, keep that clock ticking. Now in a situation, it's interesting. Do they want to throw the football? How much do they trust their quarterback not to make a mistake here late in the football game with the lead?
Williams looking for a man. It's caught. That throw and catch gets them down to the 6, and the defense is running out of answers.
I think most offenses around the country in a situation like this with the lead late would be trying to run the football, right, or throw it short and try to bleed the clock. But this offense, man, it's still pedal to the metal. They're looking for chunk play opportunities.
Off the play fake on first down, wants to throw. Here comes the heat. And he runs it in for the score. Touchdown, Huskies.
And that is a drive and a score they absolutely had to have. Now making it a two-possession game late in this one. It wasn't going to be enough to just play it safe, play it conservative, punt the ball away, and count on your defense. They were aggressive. They mixed it up, but getting that score, that is huge for their win probability now.
On to attempt the try.
The kicker on for the extra point.
And the extra point extends the lead to double figures at 10. That touchdown drive covered 61 yards. And he got into the house from the 6 to finish it. Kickoff unit on the field, and this defense will be called on to protect this lead. On the run from inside his own 5. Really disciplined job by the coverage unit to get down there and make the stop at the 19. So they start this drive from inside their own 20 at the 19-yard line. Snagged in the middle, it's Meredith. A most efficient pickup of 6 on first down. It's 2nd and 4. Good start to this drive, and they'll need much, much more if they're going to give them a finish.
They need a ton more of this, but you got to start the drives great. The first play needs to be really good. That was a good start. Now we got to keep building on it, and we got to do it in a hurry.
Leaves it with the back. And this one will be stopped for no gain. This Husky defense, David, it's like they've got Vita Vea and Steve Emtman up front, Joe Tryon as a backer, and Marcus Peters in the secondary. There's purple everywhere.
You're right, from front to back. Guys up front on the defensive line eating them up, doing a great job in the secondary at linebacker. Complete performance from this UW defense.
Rolls it in. They finally get to him. And what a play there to pick up the first down. They absolutely had to have that third down to keep any glimmer of hope alive.
And defensively, that's exactly what I want. Make you get the third down. The clock is your enemy. Multiple possession lead. That is right where I want this offense.
They'll line up right at the 48-yard line on 1st and 10. Looking to throw on 1st down. Flips it out on the screen. And I think they'll give him 2 on that one. 2nd and 8 coming up.
Well, this offense will screen you in a variety of ways. They'll throw receiver screens, tight end screens. The running back screen also a big part of what they like to do, like you just saw there.
Plenty of distance between them and the sticks here on 2nd down. Looking to fire. Grabbed in the middle. It's Ellison. Dragged down, but they'll move the sticks for a 1st down. They immediately call timeout, trying to preserve every second they can to try to rally here late. Motion from the back. Wants to keep it in the air. Quick spin on the run.
This offense has their work cut out for them, man, because the coverage has been so tight. And if you're not throwing to the sideline or you're not getting past the sticks, this defense is going to tackle you inbounds like they just did on that last play and bleed the clock.
6th play of the drive coming up. 2nd down, he'll throw it. Grabbed over the middle. It's Meredith. They knock him down, but he's got enough to get it across the line and pick up the 1st down. Quick timeout from the offense to save precious seconds. Looking to throw on 1st down. Pass rush coming after the quarterback, and they get him at the 32.
That's a play the defense needed, right? It's been a battle all game long. Here we are. It's late. Everybody's tired. They've given up a few yards on this drive, but they come away with a huge sack at a big moment.
The Cougars with a long way to go after the loss on the last play. 2nd down, they'll go to the air. Got it in the middle. It's Ellison. The offense gets a quick timeout. At this point, every second is precious.
You got to like this defense, man. All game long, great job tackling the football. Like, you throw it on the perimeter, they're coming up. They're not giving the run after the catch to these receivers. A lot of times you see so much damage done after the catch. This defense has been dialed in, and the big play has been a non-issue.
It's a nice job running the in route there by the receiver, and the best thing he did after he made his break, he didn't trail and fade away. He actually attacked the football. That's a good lesson for young receivers out there watching.
Washington State going back to work on 1st down. Looking to the end zone. Almost intercepted. They took a shot on 1st down and just about turned the thing over.
Well, they're not able to hook up on that throw, but they need to score now. At this juncture of the game, this late in the game, they need a touchdown, they need an onside kick recovered, and they need to score again if they're going to win. The sense of urgency is just off the charts.
Misfired on the last play. They'll go back to the air. And he's got it. A late touchdown. Probably window dressing, but still a sliver, albeit very slight, of hope.
It's not over yet. There's still a little bit of time on the clock. Obviously, that score gives you a chance, but man, oh man, do you need some miracles to happen some way to get this football back and do some damage with it.
Lining up to add another.
Kicker is on for the extra point.
And the PAT will draw them 1 point closer. They put it in the end zone with a 12-play scoring drive. And they finish it up with a 15-yard scoring toss. First things first, they have to recover the onside kick, and then they'll have time for probably just 1 play. They were ready for the onside kick and executed perfectly, and they secure the football. Their work here is virtually done. No need to take any more chances. They'll line up in victory formation. The Huskies had that dog in them in this one, taking down the Cougs for the Apple Cup and the Governor's Trophy. That's going to do it from here. For David Pollack and Jesse Palmer, I'm Reese Davis, and you've been watching another presentation of EA Sports College Football.